Okay. Can you hear my voice now? All right. My apologies. I will have to cut and edit this and put it up post live stream. So, my name's Laurel Papworth. On Thursdays, I run a live lecture / tutorial, depends what format we're going to use. We're using tutorial today, where you can ask me questions about social media and online courses. Social media is used a lot for competitions and giveaways and things like that. And today I really want to focus on how to use social media to build audiences for your online courses and how to get engagement through social media and the importance of educational material on social media. Communities of interest don't tend to stay engaged if there's no long-term value. So competitions and giveaways don't create long-term values except with the coupon communities, which may not be your community. All right, so let me switch to the first question. Oh, thank you. And we're good on YouTube and we're good on Facebook. Excellent, thank you. And looks like good on Twitter as well. And LinkedIn. Wow. We've got the, not trifecta, what's it called when it's four? Quadrifecta, I guess. So one of the first questions I was given, I'll just switch to top right, and our sound's still good. Excellent. I want to go to the question that somebody asked, which was, should we use hashtags on social media? Yes, but I think is the correct answer. So what you will hear people saying is you shouldn't use hashtags anywhere except on Instagram. And Instagram is very good at I guess, optimizing around hashtags. So you try to use all 30, make sure you don't repeat them all the time, or you will be shadow banned. No matter what Instagram says that they don't shadow ban, they absolutely do. And the questions are, should we be using hashtags on other platforms? So I want to talk to you about how professionally large organizations are using hashtags and then how the platforms themselves are facilitating them. Okay, so I will get ready with something else to show you. I think the first thing to understand is that Facebook for Media is where Facebook are talking directly to journalists and media companies about how to optimize their content for the news feed. So unlike brands where they really want brands to spend a lot of money on advertising and boosting posts and things like that, Facebook's trying to help media because they see media, and let's be clear here, they see media as providing really good quality content. And by good quality content, I mean clickable content. I don't mean educational content or make the world a better place content. I just mean they know that media provides content that people want to read. They click and they watch a clip from Fox or from CNN or BBC, or they read the Daily Mail or Australian Financial Review or whoever it is. So they really want to help journalists and media optimize their content because they know it's the sort of content that keeps people addicted to Facebook. So, and we'll get to Facebook's integration with Instagram in a moment. So if you go through Facebook for Media and you go facebook.com/formedia/blog, you'll see a lot of articles in here, and they talk about when to use hashtags, creating hashtags, joining hashtags, amplifying your campaigns. So all the reasons why you should use hashtags. And they're speaking directly to media because they're helping media optimize their content. So I think if it's good enough for media, it's good enough for you. Use hashtags on Facebook. Clearly, whenever you see Facebook use terms like signals, let me just see. There was something here. Or amplification, if you like. Then we can see that Facebook is using the hashtags to help drive that content into people's news feeds. So let me bring up some stuff that I think you'll find interesting here. If I can find it. Oh, there we go. Right. So when I'm talking to people about hashtags, what I really want people to think about is if they put up content without a hashtag, it doesn't get distributed into networks that are using that hashtag. And we'll come to how popular hashtags are in a moment, who's using them, who's not, and the SEO or SMO, social media optimization of hashtags. But if you put up content and you don't use a hashtag, it doesn't get distributed into the people who are reading these hashtags. And I don't want you to think of a hashtag as being a search term, even though that's what it is. It's actually a community of interest. So AgChat is the agricultural community on multiple platforms, and AgChat Oz is the agricultural community, farming community in Australia. And so for me, the hashtag represents farmers. It's a community of interest. It's a group that I want to reach. AusTeach are teachers in Australia, so we would use AusTeach. You may be checking hashtags like hashtag content creator for online course creation or hashtag online courses. Always remember to use the hashtags of the audience you're trying to reach, not necessarily the hashtag of your friends, if that makes sense. Like you're creating an online course, but that's probably not the most important thing. If you're doing an online course on creating an online course on yoga, you'll want to use the yoga hashtags. Hashtag yoga by the beach, hashtag fit for life. I don't know. I haven't looked at the yoga hashtags for a long time, but always remember that they're a community of interest. People have said to me, not everybody's using hashtags, there's no point. But here's the thing. The key influencers in the middle of those groups do use hashtags. It's how they became key influencers. And so when I needed to do a ripple amplification campaign to teachers, I discovered that a small group, very small group of teachers and principals and things like that, people like that, were using hashtag AusTeach. But they themselves had hundreds and hundreds of teachers connecting to them on platforms. So I put something up under hashtag AusTeach. It went to the principals and the teachers. They reshared it into their networks, and we got that big amplification happening that we need to have happening. So if you put something up and you're down here on the bottom left-hand corner, the trigger, just checking you can see it in the view, but I believe you can. If you put in the trigger of the hashtag and then somebody is checking that hashtag and then reshares it, it amplifies throughout networks. Just to give you an example, I probably don't have any more than 200,000 to 300,000 direct followers on the platforms. In fact, I've locked down my LinkedIn so that I can't have many more because I want a very targeted audience. But my amplification means that I reach around 6 million people a month, and then over Christmas and holidays around 11 million people per month, because I use a judicious use of hashtags. I can't speak today. So try and find the hashtags, and we'll talk about that in a moment. That's right, for your community of interest. We're already 15 minutes into this question. Yeah, I agree. You have to find the people that are using the hashtags as well and follow them and connect with them. And that's part of your amplification. So Sorry, I'm just reading one of the questions. You're absolutely right. If you don't have a hashtag, it goes to what's called your direct channel. These are the people that are following you. 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, whatever it is, goes directly to them. If you use a hashtag, it also picks up that social media asset and drops it into other communities. Now, let me give you a word of warning. Don't use any old hashtag. For a start, think of alpha hashtags like hashtag food if you've got a cooking course, hashtag recipes, hashtag nutrition. But they're so broad that it's hard to be seen in those hashtags because lots and lots of people are following them, but the big brands are using them. And so you end up trying to go up against taste.com or one of the big sites who's using those hashtags. So look for little hashtags. Look for the little, like, if you're doing paleo, make sure you find out all the hashtags about paleo. It shouldn't just be hashtag food, but all the paleo hashtags as well, if that makes sense. They're called the micro, so you don't have to use the big A grade, alpha. You can use the smaller hashtags as well. Secondly, don't hijack hashtags. Don't put up hashtag, I don't know, some cooking show, MasterChef, hashtag MasterChef, if your online course on cooking has nothing to do with MasterChef. That's called brand jacking or hijacking a hashtag. And you'll end up with a lot of haters in your stream if you do that sort of thing. So we don't do that. We don't do that at all. What else do we have here about hashtags? I'm sorry, just checking the questions. Yes, measurement. A good way to measure hashtags. I'm sorry, then we'll need to go on to something else. So this is, let me just log into my personal Instagram. Not a business one, it's just my little personal one. So what I tend to do with hashtags, and there are tools, okay? Most of them are paid for. This one's free, which is why I like to show it to you. If I go to search and I search food, you'll see what I mean. Sorry. Helps if I actually put the hashtag in front of it. Hashtag food. 444,099,776 posts are your competitors. And food porn is always, always, always second. In fact, sometimes food porn does move to first place, but it's usually vying between these two. So these would be called big hashtags. And if I click on hashtag food, I can see that, what's that one? Natto Cook is doing Thai food. Just a second. Gotta tell you, gotta love technology. So some idiot forgot to plug my Sony camera in. So it went off. I use power for my live streams. I don't rely on batteries for that exact reason. So what we got here, we've got Natto Cook. We've got the Crunchy Radish Upper West Side. 60,000 followers. Sinfully Spicy from Vegas has 25,000 followers, and these posts would have gone up recently, so they're still collecting. So what the algorithm's doing here is it's looking for people who reliably post on that hashtag and then is preferential in providing the top posts on that. It's not the last post in, last in best dressed. That's not how algorithms work. I wonder what hashtag paleo gives us. Only 15 million posts. So you can see as you go into more and more niche topics, you'll be able to find more interesting and specific targeted posts. Is that cheese on? That wouldn't be bread, would it? Some sort of a burger. I really shouldn't have picked food. I really am hungry. It's 1:21. What can I tell you? Okay. Last thing on hashtags. So you can explore hashtags as a search term. A little bit bigger because I'm in the corner. There are one-off hashtags. So people's weddings or conference or your webinar or something like that. You'll need to build a viral spiked event campaign around that. So you do work beforehand, you do work after, and then the actual event is in the middle, and then you'll notice everything sort of comes in slowly as a J-curve and then drops off slowly. Actually, it drops off quite quickly. What else do we have here? Nope, we're still losing that camera. Just a moment. You know what? You don't need to see me. That's fine. I'll put the camera back on in a moment. Must be something else going on over there. What else do we have here? We have, if you create your own hashtags, you could run into trouble because the only people that use that hashtag are you and your direct audience. So you're not reaching extended audiences. You're not amplifying to people that don't already know you and love you. So that's going to be an issue. We have weekly ones. I look after a lot of TV shows like MasterChef and Big Brother. So if you've got a TV station, go ahead, create your own one. Otherwise, really, really commit to weekly meetings. So you'll notice with mine, I use hashtags every Monday for social media news. And I use the same hashtag every week. But I use other hashtags to get into communities of interest. We already said don't brand jack, don't news jack. And I kind of think that's probably... Oh, just double check who else is using that hashtag. You can run into trouble if you run into a political group or people who you may or may not share their political values if you accidentally use one of their hashtags. And it's not always obvious what a hashtag is about. So there's that. The other one I wanted to say is that LinkedIn also uses hashtags. Just a moment. So I just realized I needed to change some power setups that we have. So that's good. Okay. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, I was sharing this one. Hashtags on LinkedIn. Just to follow up on the Facebook hashtag thing, but just to point out that LinkedIn has hashtags as well. So very quickly, use hashtags. Sure, use one or two alpha big ones like food, then get into the niche hashtags, measure them using a free service like Instagram if you don't want to use Hashtagify or one of the paid for services. Remember that Facebook, you can use hashtags on Facebook and LinkedIn. They recommend it, which means the algorithm uses the hashtags. Use hashtags to connect with influencers in groups that you're trying to reach. And basically a hashtag is a community of people that you want to reach. That's kind of where I think we're at with hashtags. That's it very, very quickly. I was hoping to do it in 15 to 20 minutes. It took 26 minutes. So, hey ho. What's another question we have here? Oh, okay. Yeah. What platforms should you be on? And given that I've just shown hashtags on Facebook and LinkedIn, and obviously Twitter and Instagram use them, my answer is invest your time where your community invests their time, where your target audience invests their time. So if your course is for mums, you have to think about where mums are hanging out. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? And what mums? And what are you trying to say to them? Another one that I look at is something that the algorithm, Adam Mosseri, who's the head of the Facebook newsfeed and Instagram's newsfeed. In fact, he's in charge of merging them. He said that they look at story types, which is that some people are visual and some people are text. And so if people like to click and read articles in a newspaper, he gives them more content that's wordy. So when you see those really long articles in Facebook posts, you're probably a wordsmith and so is the person that's writing to you. So they connect wordsmiths with wordsmiths. Journalists tend to be wordsmith authors and writing. If you're doing a copywriting course, so if you're teaching a copywriting course or a journalism course or a how to write and be published as an author kind of course, then really focus on that. Now, if I'm looking at story types, one way I do that, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but we will get it sorted out sooner or later. Let me go to, I'm just going to go into Insights so that you can see where to find out what your audience is like. Right, Insights. Don't tell me they've moved them already into, oh no, I'm already on Insights. Okay, so what I want to do is go to Posts. This is a play page. This is a training page. This is not my live page. This only has around 2,000 people on it. And I go to post, and I do this so that I can just show people. I go to post types, and what I want to look at is what type of content do my audience like? And photo is popular. So 272 reach, around 15 engagements. A status is text. So these are text story types. It's pretty low. And then video, 106 reach, but 13 engagements. So that's my live streams. And then we're back to text again. And what I deliberately did on, I think it was January that I switched over to being a visual type. So I initially had the text type. Then I decided that this page had to be for visual types because I wanted to practice my live streaming on this muck around play page, this sandbox page, this training page. And so I put up I live streamed videos onto here. So I've probably done what, I don't know, you guys know better than me, 10 videos maybe? 12 videos. And so it's around a month, 28 days, MAU, monthly active user, that I've been able to shift photos and videos from status and text, which is my way of saying I used to write lots and now I do a lot more visual stuff because my audience tends to be visual. Important when you're creating your content, important when you're creating your courses. If you're talking to researchers, authors, finance people, don't go overboard with the graphics. Don't make them sit there and watch you all the time. Have lots of text in the video, and don't step away from text lectures and download PDF lectures and things like that. Text story types like text. Which brings me to the answer to the actual question that was being asked. Let me just check. Yes, what platform? So if we're on LinkedIn, let me just go to my LinkedIn. What you'll notice is that people write either short clips with an image, or they go to now one thing that's confusing or does confuse students of mine is that if it's a link, it'll show the thumbnail, but people know that the thumbnail is going to lead them to words. So if they're text people, they tend to click on it. What I've noticed recently with my LinkedIn is that it's been really good at mixing up the different types of content. Better than Facebook, actually. I only get text on Facebook. And I think it has to do with watching what I do. So because I live stream once or twice a week on LinkedIn, which is a video thing, and then I write quite long posts on LinkedIn when I do write, I'm probably seen as being somewhere in the middle. But that's extremely unusual. People instinctively move into one or another. What story type are you? Are you visual? Or are you a word? Twitter tends to be words because it's about the pithy headline and the link to a blog post. I won't go to Twitter, that's no point. TikTok, obviously visual. LinkedIn, obviously visual. Sorry. Instagram visual, TikTok visual, YouTube is visual. The exceptions are there. For instance, certain TV shows like Al Jazeera have a lot of text on the videos. And if you put a lot of text on the videos, you'll be remarked for text story types. I don't know if I'm answering the question, but you need to invest your time where your audience invests their time, and that means you have to know your audience. If they're into fitness and you know they're on Instagram and your course is about fitness, Instagram is good. If it's a course about how to publish business books, then LinkedIn is a great place. So look for where your audiences are and invest your time where they invest their time. Next question. Clubhouse. No, let's not talk about Clubhouse. Okay, Clubhouse is for audio people, which is another separate group. People who like podcasts and radio talk-in shows. And it will not go as far as visual. Majority of humanity is visual. Small percentage text, small percentage audio, small percentage kinesthetic. So, yeah, I'm not investing a lot of time in the Clubhouse and then the Twitter ripoff and the Facebook ripoff at this point in time. I would need to understand how it's going to compete with call-in radio. Now, call-in radio is massively popular. There's no doubt about it. So, good take off right there. I think my camera's overheating. It's giving me indications it's not happy. We could potentially do this again, or more likely what I'll do is I'll build out some longer videos that are in depth. How to do a social media strategy for online courses, or how to do social media ads for online courses. If you're interested in anything like that, please let me know. And what do we have here? This is just who I am and what I do. So you've got a bit of a background on me. And on Monday, I'm going to be doing social media news at 10:45 a.m. Monday morning Sydney time, catching up on all the social media news. From now on, I'm going to cover a social media manager's job of the week. And I also want to do social media events. So who's running an event, a webinar or course or lecture or, I don't know, a conference, something like that you might be interested in. I'll let you know about those as well. Next Thursday, haven't decided. I need to review this and see if I need to redo this one again, but more in depth and with cameras that are working and mics that are working. That is the nature of streaming live. Welcome to my world. All right, guys, thanks very much for your time today. Thanks for your questions. They were really good questions. And I will see you Monday. Yeah.